As I began to improve my self-image, I was eventually able to ask her out. So what changed? How was I able to do that? Completely unaware of this at the time. And as a matter of fact, it took me years to become aware of this. Simply by going to the gym daily, I was changing the way I viewed myself. My self-image was improving. I felt better about myself. I'll talk more about this in a minute. First, let me give you some context. Within a day of me arriving to California, I made a decision to quit drinking and just start going to the gym. Before arriving in California, it had been months, if not close to a year, that a day had not gone by that I wasn't drinking. So when I arrived here, I wanted to do something that would immediately make me feel better and look better and put my mind in a different place. I felt that the worst was behind me when I made the choice to change my life and quit drinking. And to be completely honest, the gym seemed extremely overwhelming and uncomfortable. I was terrified at first. I was like 135 pounds. I'm now about 175, but at the time, 135 pounds. I was emaciated. I was on a liquid diet before and really had no gym experience. So it was a very overwhelming and scary experience to go to the gym and not really knowing my way around weights while being that skinny. It was, looking back, it was really daunting. But I really wanted my life to improve. I wanted that so badly. And I was determined to make that happen. And sure enough, a couple weeks in, I was putting on a little weight and I was looking better and I was feeling emotionally better and more confident. I started imagining how fit I was going to get. I would visualize myself 10 to 15 pounds heavier, feeling great, looking great, happy, smiling, and on top of the world. Going out without drinking, dating without drinking, just ultimately feeling a lot better about myself. For the first time since I could remember, I actually felt hopeful. So all these benefits were reinforcing and installing a positive habit. There was a shift in my attention as well. Instead of focusing on the challenges of sobriety and feeling uncomfortable, insecure, having a poor self-esteem, and not being able to have fun without drinking, although those things were still there, things were shifting. I was actually visualizing myself in a different scenarios without drinking, being around new people and being around women without having a drink. I was creating a picture in my mind of what I wanted to look like and feel like. I was looking through fitness magazines and imagining myself feeling strong and fit, secure, confident, self-assured, and in incredible shape, really just feeling comfortable in my own skin. Daily, I was clothing myself in these feelings and mental images. Before going to the gym every day, on the way to the gym, and while at the gym, I would put music on that would make me feel really just pumped, so I could truly sustain those feelings of confidence and security within myself. The music was really, really helpful in that. You know, when you listen to a good song that just makes you just feel really pumped and enthused? That's one of my secrets, and we'll talk more about that later. So I would feel and see myself in incredible shape and imagine all the benefits that came with that. I became obsessed with wanting to look great, feel great, and of course imagine my life improving without drinking, making new friends and having new experiences, meeting someone I could be happy and proud to be with ultimately. And over time, those strong feelings and those pictures were impressed upon my subconscious. Those feelings and mental images became my state of awareness or consciousness. Are you starting to see how this is coming together? So I was habitually thinking from these feelings and images, and I was living my goal in my mind as if it were real. And here's the trick, something I want you to become very aware of. Instead of looking at my goal, right, I was thinking from it. I was living it. I was becoming it daily. I had effectively been training my mind to create a new reality for myself, to create a new self-image, a new goal picture, right? So check this out, and I want this to land for you. There are certain habits and routines that make transformation or success easier regardless of the circumstances you face. In fact, you may already practice some of these habits, even though you are unaware of it right now. But most importantly, if you understand how to harness these habits, then you can drastically improve your health, your work, your relationships, and most importantly, your relationship with yourself, and start living the life you deserve. For example, when I started going to the gym daily, pretty much right after I gave up drinking, I started to notice a funny thing. When I worked out, I wanted to naturally eat better, even though I could have rewarded myself with chocolate bars and ice cream, which I did sometimes, but I really felt like eating healthy foods. I also slept better, and when I was awake, I seemed more productive and my mind seemed to think clear. I was more lucid. In other words, fitness became the keystone habit that was putting the rest of my life in place. Simply by having a fitness routine in place, by working out daily, other things naturally fall into place. I don't have to think about eating better. I don't have to force myself to focus on getting things done. Exercise naturally pushes me towards my best self. It's awesome. I mean, just imagine how much easier and more fulfilling your lifestyle could be if you discovered one or two keystone habits that naturally put the rest of your life into place. So unknowingly at the time, I had installed a keystone habit into my life a couple of weeks after quitting drinking. At the time, all I knew is that I needed to do something to feel better about myself. And I wanted to feel healthier, more secure, more confident. And of course, I wanted to look better. Now, this is huge. I really want you to get this. All I really did was trade one habit for another, if you think about it. I quit drinking every day and picked up working out every day. And this created a ripple effect in every aspect of my life. I felt better, I looked better, my thinking was more clear, I was eating better, I was sleeping better, I was more productive, and I was making better decisions. I actually wanted to continue to improve the way I felt about myself because I was seeing such drastic change, not only in my appearance and confidence, but also in the way people were responding to me. And it's all because I was changing the way I viewed myself. Conversely, when I was drinking every day, the opposite was happening. I had a much harder time getting out of bed. In fact, I didn't even want to get out of bed. I had no self-control. I made horrible decisions, and I couldn't think clearly. I weighed 135 pounds on a liquid diet. I had horrible relationships. I was in and out of jail. I couldn't hold a job. I was getting into fights, and my personal life was destroyed. I was recreating and reinforcing my negative self-image or failure mechanism. I think you get the power of a keystone habit. Looking back, what's so encouraging and empowering about this is that all I had to do was swap habits. And today I choose to believe that alcohol is just a symptom of the main problem, which was myself. And I grew up with the idea that I just wasn't good enough, which my father had taught me by his behavior towards me. So I became basically the image of what he led me to believe about myself, that I just was not good enough. This became my self-image or failure mechanism. Remember, what we tell ourselves over and over again subconsciously is what we become, and we find ways to confirm our self-image, whether that be a poor self-image or a positive self-image. When I discovered alcohol, it made me feel more confident. It made me feel whole and comfortable in my skin. Eventually, I just became so good at drinking that I didn't know myself without it. I drank to feel comfortable with myself. It became my identity. What it really did was allow for me to not have to take a look at myself and take responsibility for my life. And towards the end, I eventually became what I believed myself to be, not good enough and a failure. As I'm saying this now, had I had a healthier self-concept, it's very unlikely I would have attached myself to alcohol to make me feel better about who I was. When alcohol came along, this just reinforced my failure mechanism. This is actually a very important point, which I'll come back to. So now with fitness in my life, I was becoming addicted, so to say, to the new benefits that it was bringing. It's important to recognize that I really wanted change. Change was all I could think about. I wanted a better life for myself. Fitness was supporting that change. It was supporting everything that I was telling myself that I wanted. A better quality of life for myself and a better self-image. And when things got tough, which in my newfound sobriety happened a lot, I would just go to the gym and I would feel better. That was my outlet. That became my outlet instead of, drinking or going to AA. Now here's the greatest benefit of establishing a keystone habit. It will be the simple thread that ties all other habits together. It's the linchpin, or let's say center pin in bowling. If you could serve up your day like a bowling ball and direct it at hitting that center pin, there's a good chance you will knock down all the pins, or the vast majority at the very least. For me, my second pin was reading. I set a goal of reading one book like every 2 months, and it worked. The momentum shifted and I grew the confidence to take on more change. Ultimately, I ended up starting my own business. The reality is that it will take months, if not years, of this repetition to successfully build a keystone habit, right? Be patient with yourself and remember, this is about the journey. This is about changing your life forever and laying a solid foundation that you can build upon to do so. But once that keystone habit's in place, you now have a foundation to go up the food chain and consume bigger behavioral changes. This could be heading to the gym, yoga, completing 30 minutes of meditation, cycling each morning, or simply writing down the 2 to 3 outcomes you want to see accomplished that day. You know, Charles Duhigg states, keystone habits influence how we work, eat, play, live, spend, and communicate. And they start a process that over time transforms everything. Once you put into practice the keystone habit, you will radically improve your health, your work, and your relationships, and take on whatever the new year throws at you. So go on, get that workout in daily, and get your life headed in a positive direction, starting with executing your new keystone habit. Now, I by no means want to suggest any of this was easy. By no means. Installing a keystone habit certainly makes it easier because you're beginning to change. But this all comes down to one thing, remember? This entire program comes down to one thing: how hungry you are for change, how viscerally you want change in your life. It's got to feel like it's your own breath. That's how bad you want it. If you found this video valuable, please leave a comment below. I would love to hear your feedback. And if you'd like to learn more about how you can be the best version of yourself so you can create the life you want, please subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.